I mean, it's not just one or two people. There's going to be thousands of us trying to cross that bridge. It's 8 o'clock. Something that we talked about a little bit earlier in the show is the situation at the Department of Corrections. I know you have that release, Bree.
Yeah, a Department of Corrections recruit reported that a family member had tested positive for COVID-19. The employee was instructed not to report for duty and to self-quarantine at home. Then on Monday, this past Monday, the employee was tested for COVID-19, which came back positive. In an abundance of caution and pending further investigation, the acting director of corrections, Joseph Carbolito, ordered that all 38 recruits that may have had contact with that recruit that tested positive self-quarantine at home. The temporary absence of the recruits will not significantly impact DOC operations.
All right. And so we have Major Antone Aguon on the line. Major, good morning, Major.
Good morning, Chris.
So I guess just right off the bat, we had heard, maybe you could just start by telling us, so with these cadets, they actually go into the compound and work, right?
Yeah, the cadets are currently they're at the phase of their training where they do OJT.
Okay, so they're doing on-the-job training, which means that they're at DOC working.
Inside the compound,
right.
Working with the inmates and the detainees. So I guess just right off the bat, what we're worried about is, have you guys learned of, or has public health been able to do any trace investigation on this cadet who tested positive, who we understand was working at the Dome?
Well, of course, the director's working with public health to whatever their protocol is in regards to testing. So this particular officer, recruit, again, as the press release says, he had called in and just reported that a family member of his had tested positive. So rather than coming to work himself, we told him, do not come to work. Go ahead and stay home and self-quarantine until you're able to get yourself checked, which he did. And he called back and let us know a few days later that he had tested positive. But he had already been away from the compound for a few days already, prior to him even reporting his status as far as the family.
How many days, Major? Was it 14 days?
No, it was just his regular days off, and he was scheduled to report back to work from his day off, and then he informed us that a family member had tested positive. So again, erring on the side of caution, we said, okay, don't come to work until you get yourself taken care of. And so he hasn't been to work since.
Can you tell us, this officer and just other cadets, I guess, in this cycle, if you could maybe describe the type of contact and interaction that they have while they are performing their duties inside the compound, supervising the inmates and the detainees?
Well, okay, right now we're still looking into it, but we don't believe that this particular recruit had contact with all the recruits because they're all spread out through different shifts and different areas of the department. So it's possible he did not come in contact with all of them. We're not together, but being that they are recruits, and at times they may have come together as a group like recruits do, but we don't think that happened at this time. But again, because the information just came in, and the director thought again at the time, hey, let's not take any chances with this. Let's make sure all the recruits don't come in for now until we can sort it out and go through the process and see who he may or may not have had contact with. And so that is ongoing right now. They are working on that to figure out who he had contact with and who he did not. Mm-hmm. But again, you just want to err on the side of caution, so the director just said, you know what, let's get all of them out. So even our training officers were told also to stay home.
Wow. So, I mean, what are we thinking about the amount of exposure? Because you talk about cadets. I mean, I know it's routine for these guys to pull a long shift, to maybe go and have some beers or something after work. So there is that interaction.
Well, all the staff already been informed regarding the governor's executive order and social distancing and not having gatherings. All the officers have been informed. The director even put out a memo to that effect. And prior to all of this, we have already issued all our staff masks and gloves and so there were already instructions in place before this case incident that all the officers are wearing masks. So all these officers that were on duty, even the recruits, at all times were wearing masks and had gloves prior to any of weeks before this even came about.
You know, the dome, is that pretrial detainees or is that inmates?
The dome usually is our parole violators, our contempt of court violators, and some local detainees. Yes.
Okay, so these are individuals that would come in and out of the
Have the other
been out in the
cadets
community.
have the other cadets been tested, Major?
Not necessarily come in and out, because for the past couple of weeks we have not transferred anybody from between the facilities.
Well, detainees that are arrested and they go in, right?
No, when they first go in, they go to Aganya.
I see.
And so in Aganya, we have a separate area for them. And recently, the courts have been doing a very good job of getting them released. So we haven't, and then our daily booking has gone down dramatically compared to the pre-COVID. We probably might get 2 to 5 people, whereas before we were getting almost 20 people in a day. So it's gone down. Our overall population compared to the pre-COVID is down, and again, the courts are doing a good job as trying to keep them out and having them released on third party or conditional release.
Are you stopping the detainees that are in Aganya or people that are being arrested? Are you stopping them from going to Manilao now?
Yes.
Okay, that's stopped.
What
as of yesterday or as of Monday?
No. That happened when we put out that first. When we stopped visitation and on all the other, our first phase, when we stopped visitation and incoming and all, that's when that went in effect. The only way they would move from Aganya up is if it's of a great security nature of why it has to be done.
Right.
And that is only at the approval of the warden when there's no other option available. But again, they are making sure that we're not moving people up to Manila. Anyone that is moved up, they are checked. If they have to be moved up, they will be checked and ensure that they don't have a fever and all the other symptoms related to COVID.
Major, have the other cadets been tested? The cadets in this cycle?
I don't. I know we've just told them to just stay at home and self-quarantine for now. I don't. As far as the testing, I'm not sure. They're gonna. Some of them have went to their doctors, or going to their doctors, or in contact with their medical. But I don't think any of them had been tested. Again, if they show symptoms, then they would probably be tested. But my last conversation yesterday with the training officer, none of them have reported any symptoms or at this time. So
yeah.
What about the detainees or inmates? Are any of them showing signs or symptoms?
No, not at this time. We did our medical staff, and again the director and the warden and the management have put out guidance to the officers. If anybody does show symptoms or then we are to inform medical right away, so that proper care can be given and whatever is needed to be done.
Do you guys is the infirmary up and running? I mean, how many rooms do you guys have there?
Yes, we have a clinic. It's on site, so we have nurses on duty at the Manila facility, medical staff from GMH here. We also have medical staff in Aganya that are on duty down there, also from GMH. So we have our in-house medical team.
Right. Major, but there's no hand sanitizer or any other type of protective gear available for inmates and detainees, right?
But other than the cleaning supplies, Chris, we've given the units cleaning supplies. We put bleach in some bottles and spray bottles, and we're getting our supplies. Of course, we have to be mindful of the limitations that we have, but every unit is equipped with bleach, and they wipe down all the furniture and all the other areas. The officers all have masks and are given gloves. And again, there's mandates in place that if they are caught not wearing the mask and the gloves, they will be disciplined.
Right. I know, but Major, I'm sure you're aware that even with all these mandates in place and whatnot, we still had somebody pop positive for COVID-19.
Yes, I mean, we are, doing the best we can, but, hopefully, the longer this thing goes on, the possibly greater chance of it entering our facility. But we are taking all measures we can to try to prevent that as best we can.
How concerned are you guys, Major, about an outbreak in the corrections facility? I don't know if you heard, I have a family member up there, and they called me last night. They told me the inmates all know. They saw the news in whatever way they saw it. They know that this cadet was at the dome, and, they're worried. They're worried that this thing could spread. I mean, this is like Theodore Roosevelt, but worse. So how concerned are we?
Do you guys have a plan to address that?
Yes, we are working on a plan. We like I said, we instituted some measures, and we're working on additional measures if need be.
Right, because you would have to have like an isolation location. I mean,
do you have all that in place?
A lot.
Yes, we have those areas of where we would place them in the event they show symptoms, not necessarily COVID, but just coughing and high fever.
Yeah, and there's a lot of prisoners over there that have pre-existing conditions, and I know because when we did the tour, the clinic was talking about how they've got to deal with all these, diabetes, a heart condition. I mean,
yes, it is. I mean, it is a concern. Like I said, the director and the deputy director are taking this very seriously, and it is a concern. And again, we're doing everything we can within our power to prevent it from entering our facility.
Or mitigate it at this point.
Or
right.
mitigate
Yeah.
it. It is a challenge, and this is even not just with our prison, but just prisons across the country.
Right.
This is something that is a serious concern.
All right.
Hey, are you guys getting the hazardous pay? I just want to make sure you guys are getting that.
Well, we're getting our regular hazard pay. I know the governor signed an executive order regarding additional hazard pay, but I don't know how that works. They're still working out the specifics on that, but we will continue to come to work and do what we have to ensure that the facility is kept safe and the inmates are safe and the officers too.
And
Okay.
Thanks, Antone.
Yeah.
It's good to hear that you guys are working on a plan, so be safe out there.
God bless you, Antone. Wash your hands.
I am. I'm wearing, even me, I got mask on. I got mask, and I'm in a private office, but I still have my mask and everything on all the time.
Mask up. We got to set the example, Major.
Mask up.
That's right.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
be safe.
Okay, be safe. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Right. Wow.
Sorry, nothing.
Do they have a plan, or are they coming up with a plan?
I think you're working on it.
Yeah. Oh, that's tough. Tough. Something we're gonna have to go back to. I was thinking is with the legislature, is Vice Speaker Tolina still overseeing the prison, or is it back to Senator Pito?
I don't know.
I don't know. You would think we'd hear from one of these guys. Maybe they're concerned about it or something. 812.